Well, hello, my beautiful Taurians. Welcome to my channel. This is Baba Jolie here with a little bonus reading all about you. I've already cleansed your space and have meditated on your cards. For those of you who are returning, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for all your wonderful likes, shares, and subscribes. I am truly grateful for all your beautiful energy. Just a little reminder though, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one reading, just so you're aware. Also, please be mindful, scammers are about, pretending to be me and lots of other tarot readers. I do not do personal readings, and I will never reach out to you personally to offer one. Also, I will never ask you for money, e-gifts, or donations. So if anyone masquerading as me asks for anything at all, please report them or ignore them. It is a scam, okay? Let's move straight on with your reading. Now, you may notice that I have reinstated the Gaia chimes. I miss them too much, so they're back, of course. So please be mindful to turn down your volume if you are someone who is sensitive to sound, okay? So let us begin. Okay, my beautiful Taurians, this is a little bonus reading all about you. Us tarot readers, we tend to focus on career, money, love, but we never ask, how are you doing? So this reading is going to tap into what's going on with you right now, how you're moving through this time period, and of course, what lies on the other side. I'm only using one deck because I love the simplicity it lends to this particular reading, and it may not resonate with everyone, so I have to honor the energy that comes out, what the cards mean, of course, so please apply it to your personal situation. If it doesn't fit, don't ever try to make anything fit, okay? So let us see what's going on with you, and let us begin. Thank you so much, Spirit Guides, Guardian Angels. Can you please guide my beautiful Taurians? What do they need to know right now? What are they going through? So the first card there is the Moon. So a lot of you are deeply reflective at this time, and perhaps even acutely aware of your insecurities or fears about the world at large. The Moon energy can indicate that you are in a period of feeling very uncertain about your future. You may have goals and dreams, of course. You're trying to romance your life. You're keeping your vision of what it is you desire to accomplish in life, but there is something, deep in the pit of your stomach or in the core of you right now that you're witnessing, as it were, some sort of level of change or uncertainty in your circumstances around you. We have that Ace of Wands that is crossing you. So you may feel things have changed so monumentally that you feel that perhaps there is how can I put that? I'll have to tap into the energy of the actual card, but it just feels like things are hitting different for you. Things are so radically removed from what they once were because, I'm being given this energy of like the tide, as it were. When the tide goes out, it's like you've experienced something and then it sort of is removed. And then when it comes back in, it just feels different. So some of you may feel that life has changed so monumentally that you can't even put your finger on what it is that has changed. I mean, we have the Fool at the root of your cards. So this can indicate, that of course there's new beginnings, or you feel somehow that there's been a reset, or people are different, or it just feels like, you're seeing people or situations in a new light. Okay, we have that Knight of Swords that's in a past position. So it can also indicate that, you've been going through some major adjustments in your life, or you're so fed up of things changing. The world is moving the goalpost right now on what it is that you're trying to accomplish. I mean, this is a card of setting an intention and moving towards it. But there's so many cards of change here and uncertainty with that Moon, the Ace of Wands, and of course the Fool card. Now, the Fool card can be a very exciting card. It can be that, you are trying to tap into your playful side. But also, with that Fool card, it's like a new journey. It's like something has begun again, or it feels like you're in a period of analysis and you're trying to work out why things hit different, or why things don't feel the same that they used to. I mean, we've got the Seven of Pentacles there. Some of you are feeling a little bit dissatisfied with the way things are right now, or the way things have been developing. Don't get me wrong, I feel like you're still busy showing up for yourself, trying to evaluate the right strategy to approach life. I feel there is a question here, like, why does it have to be so hard? Why do people have to be so hard? Why is everything like under pressure or at a strain right now? Because you do have that Ace of Wands in a resistance position. I mean, you just want to live and, complete your tasks, your responsibilities, your goals, and all of those things. But it just feels like either people around you or the world itself has somehow changed. I mean, you've got another card here, the Death card, transformation, transition. I'm just getting this very strong energy that it's like you're navigating a new world in some way with that Fool energy. Now, of course, this could be applied to many different cycles in your life. Some of you could have relocated to a new neighborhood or to a new job, or perhaps, there's new dynamics in your family or your soul tribe. Maybe even friendships are evolving because there is evolution here with that Death card energy. But it feels like you are trying to navigate something new, but also, reignite your passion, come home to self in some way. So we have that Magician energy. So it can be about your focus, that inner spark, that creativity. But I'm also getting this energy of wanting to return to something. So that's coming through very strongly. So I'll tap into that in a moment as well. I mean, we have that Seven of Wands. Sevens tend to be a period where you're evaluating something, or you're trying to exert your own independence or find your way. You're not giving up on something. You're persevering, maybe on something that you're passionate about. But also, I feel we got the Hierophant there. Yeah, it's like you want something to go back, or it feels with the Hierophant, it's something traditional, or, I mean, this is a Taurian card, so it can be you're trying to find your way back to self, to learn more about yourself, but acknowledge also that something has changed within you. And this can be that, over the last couple of years, there have been some radical changes across the board in the world, in personal lives, in industries. Everything has shifted somehow. And a lot of you are like, okay, I've shifted, but somehow I feel like I'm the same. But it feels like everything around me has changed. But ultimately, I feel with that Moon energy, you're navigating. This is a flexible card. It means that you're trying to be flexible in these changes. You're trying to work out. A lot of you may be withdrawing in order to see the bigger picture in your life. But, this is a very sensitive card. It means you're all up in your emotions. Some of you, especially since we've got so many wands here, this could be that a lot of you have just been doing, showing up for yourself, for life, and just not on autopilot, because the Moon energy indicates that you have very deep feelings. But it can also indicate that because we have so many wands, like an Ace of Wands crossing you, it can be that it's challenging right now. It can indicate that, you have been trying to just get on by, create stability, security, but it feels somehow that things are brutal. The Ace of Wands as a crossing card, it can indicate that either you're exhausted, because the Moon card can indicate you're drained, that you are fed up with the way things have been, or you feel dissatisfied in some way and you've withdrawn in order to work out how you feel about life, the trajectory you're on. And the Ace of Wands also indicates that, you are wanting to transform in a way that reignites that spark, or actually, you have more energy, because it just feels like in the past things were a little bit more clear cut, if that makes sense, with that Knight of Swords. But also, Knight of Swords is a very fast-paced energy, so it can indicate some of you feel that somehow time has sped up, or that there's never enough time in the day, that you're always chasing your tail or trying to catch up with yourself, or there's always something to do, because I'm just getting this energy that you're constantly invested in something and perhaps have not had as much time for yourself. The moon energy being your starting position, this can indicate this energy of trusting your intuition, understanding that somehow life has become all about the undercurrent, what people don't say, what's not being said, or what's not readily seen, but you can feel in your gut instinct perhaps there's changes, or people have changed. There's just this undercurrent, when you have the moon energy as a starting position. So I feel like you're deeply cerebral at this moment, very reflective in thought. You're witnessing, noticing, and you may be evolving away from people or situations, and notice there is a distance there with that moon energy. The moon is a bit of a soul-searching card, so it can be that you're trying to make sense of all the changes that you've been witnessing or experiencing, or even some of you, personally, you may have gone through a monumental change or shift, almost like, a reset. It could be a body reset, for example. If you're maturing, it can be that some of you with that moon and the death card, these are connected because this is your starting position in this spread with the moon, and this is your advice to yourself in this moment. This can indicate that you are acknowledging something has changed. So, for example, if you've been going through something personal, you are trying to manage whatever it is. So if you are going through the menopause, for example, this could be deep changes in your body where you may not even recognize how your body is operating, and you may feel somehow dissolved in a sense of self, if that makes sense. And it can be that you're witnessing these changes and trying to manage them, but no matter how you try, it can be really hard to get back to what you feel was some sense of normal, if that makes sense. For some of you, you may be going through some sort of personal challenge with a person. I'm not seeing any friendship group energy here. I'm just seeing you kind of acknowledging there's a lot of change and you're trying to manage that at this time. But it could also be, if you've been unwell, for example, that you are trying to navigate your way back to self or some sort of stability or more energy, or it can be that for some of you, you're witnessing changes in your neighborhood or your jobs, if you're in a job, or it can be that literally you're about to retire and you're feeling very uncertain. But I feel right now you're trying to navigate your way and do some soul searching through these radical changes that you've been going through. And some of you with that Seven of Pentacles, you're fed up of changing all the time. It's things outside of yourself, it feels somehow that the pressure is on, if that makes sense. Looking at the energy, I feel a lot of you are learning about how capable you are in these changes, because the Hierophant indicates knowledge. But also, this can be, for some of you, not all of you, it can be that perhaps you feel very sort of independent, that you have shown up for yourself your whole life, and you may want to share your life with a person, be in a high-level commitment, a relationship, for example. And if you are someone who is starting again because a relationship ended, or perhaps you have been on your own and not in a high-level commitment, it can be that you're so ready for, a union with a person, but it's you're feeling very uncertain that perhaps it's never going to happen. I would say with the Hierophant, that is a marriage contract card. So, if you are searching for love, I would say that there is love there for you and you will commit to a person. But also the Seven of Wands is don't give up on love. I feel you could find a person when you focus a little bit more on what you're passionate about, or doing something new, bold and daring. And this is where there will be a spark, some chemistry, because, the Ace of Wands in this position can indicate where you feel exhausted, drained, or there is no spark or no chemistry or even no magic. Sometimes we're searching for the magic. When we get older, it's harder to find because we have responsibility, we have duties, we have life. It's hard to keep that inner child curious and alive. But even in relationships, even when you meet a person, it can be that there's mistrust or there is hurt from previous experiences, and we have to navigate a way in order to understand each other and move into a high level commitment. And it's daunting sometimes. So whatever you're dealing with, if you're looking for love, I definitely see here there is some sort of chemistry or flirtation that will lead to a commitment. But on a personal level, removing things like love or career, money, all of those things, because this reading is about you, it can be that you're looking at your commitments and you're noticing these uncertain times that we're living in, and you're just wondering, are you secure? With that Hierophant, I would say that you have established yourself as, being secure and having faith that you are protected and directed at this time. Some of you with that Ace of Wands, it's in a crossing position, so you could be dealing with a rejection right now, or you just feel that things are hard, okay? And at every turn of your reading, I didn't choose the cards for you, but you've got the Fool card, the Ace of Wands, you've got the Death card here. These are cards, especially with the Magician, it's like change is afoot, or you have had nothing but changes over the last couple of years, and you are just like exhausted. It always feels like every turn you make or every corner you turn, literally, it's like change, all change. It feels like the universe or the world is like moving the goalposts, and that moon can be very uncertain. Now, of course, not everybody's going to resonate with this reading, but I have to acknowledge that the moon is a starting position of fear, of anxiety. Some of you may be like looking at things outside of yourself right now, that there's just a lot of fear out there, and you're trying not to buy into it. You're trying not to witness it or exist in it. So you may be like switching off to anyone who is causing anxiety, and you're protecting your inner peace at this time. But you are going from the moon energy, which is a very kind of like, I don't want to say secretive, because I'm not feeling secretive energy there. With the moon, it's like you're tapping into your feelings, and you are blocking anything that makes you feel low vibrational, but you're going from uncertainty to a position there of feeling secure with that Hierophant, to, believe in your life philosophy, but also to establish yourself at, having structure in your life. So if there's been lots of change, for example, if you've like moved to a new neighborhood or a new job, or over the last couple of years, humanity went through some major changes, and perhaps the ripple effect or the ricochet of that has transformed your life, and you're trying to find your way back to this kind of like plateau of stability. The Hierophant says you will find structure. You're learning about who you are, what you want, and operating under different circumstances now. And, you should be really proud of yourself, because you are coming back to a position of stability or structure that is going to make you feel even more secure. I feel this is a journey you've been on, and you're kind of like on a journey of self-discovery, but you're seeking deeper meaning and greater authenticity. And the Ace of Wands, I feel any changes going forward will be on your terms. Okay, the Ace of Wands in the positive, which is the upright, because when you get it in a crossing position, you read both angles, the reverse as well as the upright. And the upright indicates, that there is a transformation that has so much potential here for you. And I feel this is about you dreaming big. It's about you being inspired. It's about you taking action to make your dreams become a reality. But it can feel like you've had a lot of exhaustion, or you've been drained, and it just feels like you're recalibrating in some way to realign your focus with some of the changes you actually want to see, rather than them being thrust upon you and you having to navigate within that parameter, as it were. So for example, if your friendships or family dynamics have shifted or changed, or people are just, with that Fool card energy, perhaps they may be acting immature, or you feel like you're outgrowing them with that Death card energy. It can be that some of you are feeling a little bit alone or isolated in these changes, and you're questioning, why they've happened, but at the same time, I feel like you are removing yourself in order to prioritize your needs, but also acknowledge that, you know, other people's happiness is not your responsibility. You're taking care of your responsibilities, as it were. And the Fool card can also indicate that a lot of you are not just feeling drained, but uninspired, or the things that you used to love just are not hitting in the same way. So it feels very much like you're trying to be more curious, connect to your inner child, to really explore the world from a different viewpoint so you can find that spark, because this is the spark. Some of you may feel that spark is missing because of all the responsibilities or the seriousness or even the uncertainty of the world around you. And it feels very much like this sense of, how can I put that? It's almost like you're learning how to navigate a new world or have a new experience. I can't really put my finger on what it is that my guides are trying to give me, but the Fool card, it's like you're bringing high vibes only. And it's almost like as well, because I mean, with the Knight of Swords in the past position, it can indicate certain people have an expectation of how you respond to things. So if they tended to trigger you or push your buttons in some way, they expect like a certain response. But with the Fool card as your earthbound card, it tells me that you're not responding in the same way anymore. It feels like you're trying to detach from an outcome, or you're trying to detach from an old way of doing something so that people don't get the same version of you anymore. And so if someone tried to like sabotage or criticize you, or, you know, make things difficult for you, you're like, okay, I'm just remove myself here, no drama, I'm just like detaching. It's almost like with these two cards, you may even kind of scare yourself how easy it has been to detach. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a sensitivity here with the moon. It tells me you are a very deep feeling person, but some of the like experiences that you may have had in the last couple of years, it may have felt like you have disassociated or kind of like become numb to these things in order to make these changes. Now, again, I'm not really sure why my guides are giving me this, but I have to acknowledge what I'm being given right now, because this card can indicate that there is a need to, I don't want to say sever ties with a person or situation, but I feel like you are above this. It's like you're taking the higher ground on this. I feel like you're broadening your perspective. You're reacting to situations from your past in a different way, or you're just responding differently at this time to an old way of doing something. But this again is a very like swift adaptation card. So it can indicate that you're swiftly adapting to some sort of radical change in your life, and you're trying to get back to some sort of stability or structure that you can work with. And a lot of you, I feel this is you actually returning home to self. Okay, so it can be that you feel you have almost like put your emotions aside. I mean, these two cards, this can indicate blocked emotions on something because you just need to show up for yourself. You know, I feel a lot of you are under pressure, exhausted, and it's hard. And it's like you're holding it all together, or you're holding it all in. And this is just across the board. It's not just one area of your life. That's why I feel it's so monumental, the changes that you've been going through. And the question is, like, when did I lose myself in all of this? And I feel this is such a monumental question that sits in the very core of you right now. Like, when did I lose myself, or this experience just became like life? When did this happen? So a lot of you are doing some soul searching or questioning, but I do see you rediscovering self or reigniting that spark. And if you have had blocked emotions, I feel over the next coming months, there is going to be this outpouring, cathartic energy where you cleanse or declutter or kind of like detoxify. You know, I feel there's this sense of letting go. It's okay to cry kind of energy. And I feel you're showing up and no one sees how much effort you're putting into everything. And it's like, you don't go unnoticed. I want you to be aware of that, because the moon energy can indicate that sometimes you feel like you're showing up, but no one notices the changes that you're going through or the things that you have had to deal with to be where you're at right now. I do see appreciation here, but with this Knight of Swords energy, I'm just being given this warrior. It's like you may have been battling away on something or with something in silence, or even dealing with a person or a situation that has felt like you're drawing a line in the sand. You can't do this anymore. And, when you get this card, especially when it's in the past position, this can indicate that you either dealt with someone who is hostile or hostile environment, or that you've had the courage to show up despite the anger, despite the frustration, despite the sadness, despite how hard things are. And I feel, there is a lot of potential here, I feel, with that Page of Wands in your kind of like, this is a potential position, which means that spark. It means that curiosity. It means adventure. A lot of you are trying to, broaden your perspective or broaden your experience, because you may be showing up in life and thinking, okay, well, I'm really grateful for where I'm at right now, but is this it? What else is there to explore? Because the Ace of Wands can be like, I don't want to say a flatline energy, but it's almost like things that you used to be excited about maybe are not hitting in the same way, or you feel that there hasn't been any excitement for a little bit. You're removing yourself from drama. And in that process, when you go through a spiritual awakening or some sort of epiphany moment in your life or a personal journey of discovery, there's stillness. And I feel that some people misconstrue stillness as boredom sometimes. So I feel a lot of you have been sitting with self, very reflective, but you're still busy. You're still busy showing up for yourself there. I feel like you have a lot on your to-do list, a lot on your mind there as well. And it feels like life has been moving quickly. Very quickly indeed. And for some of you with that Knight of Swords energy, because we do have the Death card, the Moon, and the Fool, along with an Ace of Wands, these are all like very abrupt beginning cards. So it can be that, either you're contemplating an abrupt ending of something, or this is something that has ricocheted out in your life and you're trying to like manage it. The main energy I've got is like managing something, and out of it is actually this sense of like excitement. I feel there is this energy for you where suddenly you're turning things around. It's almost like if you were dealing with a very volatile situation, suddenly you become free of it. Suddenly news that's good that comes out of it. It's like this is the potential catalyst for change where you can change your life. Sometimes we experience some of the most turbulent times before we turn it all around. I know that from firsthand experience. So a lot of you, this is the beginning of something exciting. Okay, I feel like you've dealt with a lot of new beginnings over the last couple of years, and it feels like life has somehow been different. But this is where you fly. This is where your faith and belief in yourself helps you elevate in some way. So if you have been going through challenge, I'm sending you a huge hug out there and so much love. And if some of you with that Moon energy, it can be that you're going through the shadow self. Okay, so when you go through that shadow self, you see all of the stuff. A spiritual awakening is not some aha moment where you hear harps kind of like playing in the background and little cherubs flying about and all of that. It's sorting through the mud of life. It's about, finding the golden nuggets of like education, learning more about ourselves in all of that thick, viscous mud. So you could be going through some very challenging emotional experiences right now, deeply reflective, especially about, your inner child. You could be doing a lot of inner child work and cathartically letting go of some of the experiences in order to heal them. Now, we don't let go in order to forget about it. What you experience shaped who you are. It is part of you, but we heal and let go in order to create space for joy, for happiness, for an opportunity to be free of the baggage that's been weighing us down. So I feel there is this kind of like freedom element here. Now, a lot of you also may be contemplating, as I said, a new start or a new way of living or a new life. It can be that you feel so stuck in a rut or bored with the usual parameters. because the Seven of Pentacles can feel a little bit like, you're working really hard on something and you never seem to make any headway. It can indicate that it's been a long, drawn-out process, and you're evaluating life right now. You're looking at the developments, you're checking the exchange, and you've been putting all that hard work in, and you're like, well, nothing's giving. There has to be change. But the change that you're in control of, if that makes sense. And I feel that is upon you. I feel there is some breakthrough moment about to occur for you, and it's very exciting indeed. But also with that Page of Wands, this is like the blank canvas, where you're going to take life to next. This card can indicate that, you want to be a little bit more spontaneous, or, yes, there's responsibility. Yes, there's duty. Yes, you're showing up for yourself, and life is challenging. But can you reignite that spark? Can you suddenly do something, challenge yourself in a positive way, or do something creative, or even something just for you at this time? And I feel a lot of you, this is the journey home to self. That's the main energy I'm getting here with that Seven of Pentacles. And it can be that you're looking at the very start of you. How far you've come to get to that Seven of Pentacles. This is the deep thought evaluation card, where you feel like, you're at a fork in the road, or perhaps you feel things that you've tried to manifest haven't worked out for you, or, you're kind of like admitting to yourself something isn't working anymore, whether it's a friendship, relationship, a place you live, or, something is upon you where you feel there needs to be some sort of change. And I feel like you're weighing up your options right before you master this change in your life, the change that you are actually in control of. The Seven of Pentacles is a card of being invested in something, okay? And it can indicate that you've accomplished a lot so far, and I feel you're now planning ahead. And there's this energy of what lies outside my usual parameters, because what I know so far, it just feels like the same old thing, just a different day. So how can things be different? Now, of course, we all have our lives. Life can't be different every day. That would be, I think that would be actually quite exhausting if it was, because I see a lot of you trying to get back to some sort of structure, or something a little bit more familiar that because this is a familiarity card. So I feel there is this energy of wanting to return to the life you knew, or the person that you felt like you knew. There's more to know about you, of course, and you're fully invested in that exploration right now. You're deep in your emotions, maybe even emotions, as I mentioned, that have been blocked because you've been holding it all together because you've just had to work and get on by. The next card after the Seven of Pentacles is the Eight of Pentacles. So it's like you're doing what you got to do, right? You feel it's something that you need to repeat every single day. You're close to being into this structure or routine that's locking you into your sense of commitment. You're dedicated to it, and it's admirable. But at the same time, it's like, is there space for me in all of this? And I feel that's where you are right now, and you are finding that space for you. We have that Death card. This is your advice to yourself in this moment. The Death card is change. It is radical space for something new to come on in. But also it's an acknowledgement that you've been through a major transition period in your life. It feels like for some of you, things have been a little bit upside down. Okay, and you're just trying to recalibrate to get back to this sense of the familiar. Now, I don't mean the familiar in the terms of that, you do the same old thing, just a different day. It just feels, and I feel that is actually the word, it's like you just want to feel somehow how you used to about something, or about a person or a situation. So if you feel like something or a person or an environment is evolving in a way where you felt detached, or you felt that, there's a lot of critical energy, anger, frustration, or unresolved issues, or even delays for some of you in something that you've been trying to do, there is going to be a radical breakthrough kind of point for you where you will celebrate more, where there can be a resolution, as it were, with these areas of your life. Again, a lot of you, this could be with a person, if there's been an argument, because we do have a Page of Wands there, we have a Knight of Swords. These are people cards, of course, so it can be that there is some sort of dynamic gone on in your family or in your soul tribe or even at work or in your neighborhood where you just feel there's been a lot of challenging energy recently, and that death card is like you're so fed up of this. You've drawn that line in the sand, and it can indicate that you're willing to remove yourself and let go of it so that you can be sure that you're making the right decision in order to hold on to you. It's like you're outgrowing something, and in order to kind of radically change it, you need to remove or you need to withdraw. So for example, if you're having the same sort of argument or discussion with a person and it just goes round and round in circles and you're like, oh gosh, not this one again, not this argument again, we never find a resolution, enough already. It can be that you're just saying, I'm not getting engaged in this. It's over. I don't want to listen to this. Sometimes we have to shed what is old and familiar so that we can create something new, or we can feel a different way about it. And I feel, especially with the moon, because this is the starting position, okay? This can be the ebb and flow. So I got to be honest with you, there is this kind of like conundrum, and perhaps some of you are experiencing that conundrum within yourself. It's like sometimes you're like, you know what? No, I'm not doing this. Or we're not having this argument again, or we're not doing this, or I'm just cutting it loose. It's the end. However, it's like somehow with that Hierophant energy, and if you think about the nature of the moon, you find your way back to it. Okay, so it could be that you're trying to break an old habit here, or you're trying to kind of like, how can I put that? It's like to sever something that has been playing out as a cycle of repeat in your life so that you can get back to something familiar on your own terms. How can I put that? My guides are giving me something and I feel like I'm not hitting it. I'll always be honest, if I'm not hitting it, the energy that they're giving me, then I'll just say it, right? I'm not just going to make something up for you just to make the reading interesting or hit in a way that just, ticks all your boxes, things like that. I will wrestle with the energy that I feel like perhaps you may be wrestling with right now. So say, for example, you meet up with a friend, right? And they're really negative and you walk away from that friend and go, oh, you know what? That's it. I'm not going to see that person again because they're always saying this, that, and the other, and it makes me feel low energy, and I've tried to be there for them, but it just always ends in the same way, okay? And you leave it like that. That's your declaration to self in that moment because you want to cut ties with the negativity or how hard it is, and then after like 2 or 3 weeks, because you are, a wonderful, sensitive person, suddenly you're like, you know what? Okay, let's see this from a different perspective. Maybe they were in a bad place. You make excuses for them. You're like, I'll give them another opportunity. And then you find yourself back to a rhythm with that person. Think, you know what? Okay, we're back. It's good. Everyone's positive. It's all fine. And then 2 months down the line, suddenly the same conversation pops up. The same thing happens. And you're like, oh, I knew it. I shouldn't have done it. I said to myself last time, the end. That's it. However, you found your way back to it. Does that make sense? I'm not really sure. So for some of you, you're literally ending that cycle now. You're not going to return to that familiar place where you find yourself. You are literally making the changes necessary in order to evolve away from it or distance yourself, because there's this energy of you're so fed up of something. So whatever it is for you, because it's going to be different for everybody, of course, it can be that, you are dissatisfied with something right now, and you know that the only change you will get to experience is the one you make yourself. Okay, so it's like you're done. Change only happens when we admit to ourselves that we've dealt with this for too long and we've done nothing about it. We've fallen back into cycles. So whatever this is, as I mentioned, I feel like it stops now because you're done. Okay. And with the Magician card as the circumstances outside of yourself, I feel this is about controlling your focus at this time. So again, I feel like you are prioritizing your own needs, your emotions, your journey of discovery. I feel like you are rediscovering the magic within you, but also that potent power of creating your life or your destiny. I feel like you're tapping into that kind of element within self and of course, on a more spiritual level, your manifestation skills are elevating, and it can be that you're telling the universe that you no longer want to put up with something that you feel is not valuing you or doesn't hit right or fit in with the vision of what you have as your destination for your life. I mean, this figure, their hand is there. It's like reaching for the moon. Okay? But it's like getting comfortable with familiarity when it's coming home to self, but also getting comfortable with things that are constantly changing. So I feel like you're in a really good position in life, that you are someone who is a warrior. No matter what life throws at you, you're always flexible. You're always like ready for everything, every eventuality. So I feel that's something that you're awesome at, but you're so fed up of having to be that person who's always having to navigate a plot twist or like swerve and avoid a hardship. And with the Magician card, it's like now you're locked onto your sense of focus, and I feel this is kind of like stepping into your personal power. It's like, this is my belief. This is my life philosophy. I'm not going to compromise my time or my energy or, my viewpoint on something. You're willing to accept and acknowledge because you have that moon energy. You're someone who is sensitive. You are someone who is open. You're always willing to see the other side. You are open-minded, as it were. But also I feel this energy of kind of like saying, no, this is me though. I'm not losing myself in all of this. Because the moon is very kind of wishy-washy sometimes. It's like hidden away, or it's not that you're forcing your viewpoint onto other people, but at the same time, you are accepting but reaffirming who you are and stating your claim, as it were. Because right now in the water, I'm seeing someone like put a flag in the ground, like, this is me. You're making some declarations perhaps to self so that you can conquer something within yourself or something outside of yourself. The words self-evaluation have just come up in the water as well. So this could be something within yourself, conquering perhaps the inner critic within yourself. But the Magician is you being very powerful and noticing how powerful your thoughts are. And a lot of you may have had lots of racing thoughts, especially about things that make you feel fearful in the world around you, or even like something you've experienced. I feel a lot of you are kind of like holding yourself to account, witnessing how you think about yourself, how you talk to yourself, and maybe even taking control of your thoughts in some way, because the Magician card is a control card. But a lot of you also, and I have to acknowledge it because it's there and my guides just gave it to me, when you have the Magician card and the Moon card, it can indicate that you feel something is hidden, a motive perhaps, or you feel that there's some sort of sleight of hand going on, whether that's in your immediate circumstances or in the world at large. You may feel there's an undercurrent of control or something that you are trying to intuitively navigate at this time. And I mean, with the Seven of Wands, it's a protective energy, so it's like you're guarding against it. For some of you, it could be that you've been hyper-vigilant over the last couple of years with some of the changes, but Seven of Wands is you stating independence. Maybe that's what the flag is all about. So it's like you're reclaiming your independence in your life. So if you have someone who's overbearing in your life, or someone who tries to in some way control you or influence you, which I can't imagine, my beautiful Taurians, because you're someone who is very independent and often, I love this part about you, so don't shoot the messenger when I say this, stubborn. You stick to what you believe in. So I love that aspect. You are not often swayed, but if you feel over the last couple of years that you've been soul searching, or you feel like you've lost a part of yourself, or even blended your energies with other people in some way, it's like you're detaching now to be more independent. So, for example, if you're a parent, right? You're a parent, you're guiding the next generation. A parent, of course, is a label, as it were. you are a parent, you're guiding your child or your children, and you do often lose your sense of self in guiding the next generation, an outpouring of love and sensitivity to them, but you're still you. So a lot of you, if you have like teenage children who are going off to college or university, for example, it can be that suddenly, you're reclaiming your life and now it's your time to spend doing things for you. You have time. But there can also be a lament on that as well, because you feel, now the dynamics are shifting. That era is over. They are off being independent, doing their own thing, and now you have all this love, care, and energy, and you're like the empty nest syndrome, but at the same time, you're excited to get back to your sense of self and to, hit your passion projects and all of those things. For some of you, this could be retirement, that, an era has come to a close, and now it is your time to enjoy a different pace, do all the things that you wanted to do. I feel there's something here where it feels like a monumental shift or change that at first comes with a lament or a challenge or adversity, but you're turning it around in your favor, and it just feels like you're free in some way. Seven of Wands means you're at your personal best. It means that you're persevering with something that was challenging, but you're going to conquer it or overcome it. You're not compromising who you are. You're stating clearly how you want to live your life. So even if you are, a person who is living with their parents, and it can be that you're trying to be independent, but of course the housing market is so expensive, it could be really hard for you to move out right now, and you may be pooling your resources trying to get your feet on the ground and get a place of your own. But at the same time, you're in a dynamic where sometimes it's frustrating and you want to have a little more independence, but you're acutely aware that you are living with your parents and it's their house and all of those dynamics that go with that. It can be that, you are turning your life around in order to be free of that situation, to be independent. Some changes are positive, especially when it's on your terms, but I feel like you've had a ricochet effect of changes that occurred that were out of your control at some point, and you're just trying to get back to some sort of structure. This reading, I think, is one of the most abstract readings I've ever had in my life, okay? So I hope it does resonate with someone out there, because it's just shifting with this nature of change itself. But the Hierophant is have faith that you are going to create structure, stability, that you will rekindle this relationship with yourself, learn more about who you are, but also this is about your commitments. You're more than just your commitments. You're stronger than your struggles. And I just get this energy here of, you kind of having a revelation about self, but also for some of you, getting more involved in the community, or finding a soul tribe member or friends who really fit with who you are now if you're evolving away from friendships. A lot of you, this could be marriage, okay? It can be that you're navigating some changes in your relationship with your partner, wanting to reignite that spark, make sure that you don't take, each other for granted. You may have been with each other for a long time, and it can be that, the pace of the relationship has shifted from something that was like fast and furious at the beginning, the honeymoon period, no matter what stage you're in or how long you've been with your partner, the Ace of Wands is always that chemistry, that spark. And it can be that over time, responsibility chips away at the relationship, and we navigate relationships through the everyday life. So it can be that, you are noticing your relationship changing, and it can be that suddenly you are reigniting that spark. Or if you are pregnant, for example, congratulations if that's you. It can be that, things are changing. Your hormones are changing, or, your dynamic with your partner is changing. If you're pregnant, it can be that you're navigating these changes. Or even if you've just had a baby, again, congratulations if that's you, because the Fool card is the start. It can be a child card, so it can indicate that some of you, your whole world has shifted and changed, and you're navigating these changes because now you have a newborn. And it can be very uncertain. You feel scared that you're guiding this incredible being, this beautiful soul, and that's a lot of responsibility. And it can feel daunting, especially in the world that we have right now. But I feel like you are going to inspire them, and they're going to fly, and they're going to have so many wonderful experiences without control. I feel, of course, you're going to guide in your own unique way. But at the same time, I feel that, you know, you are going to pass on your knowledge to the best of your abilities, and everything is going to be fine. So I feel there is an energy, no matter what you're going through right now, it's like, relax, you got this. Okay? I mean, the Seven of Wands is a hope and a fear position. So this can indicate in the fear position that for some of you, it feels like things haven't gone the way you thought in some way. Okay? Or you've experienced something that you felt has changed. And you're like, well, it always used to feel this way, or it hit in this way, or I used to be excited by it, and it just isn't doing that anymore. And you're like, well, what's happened? What's changed? How can I get back to that? And I feel with that Hierophant, you will return to some sort of familiarity or have some sort of structure, have faith. You're going through a process, and processes change us to inform us and help us mature and elevate. I mean, even if you're navigating changes outside of yourself, like the working environment or your neighborhood, I feel you will find stability, and you will find a way to integrate, or things, you know, fit a little bit neater or happier into your life, if that makes sense. Also, I get this sense, and again, this may not resonate with all of you, it's like through periods of worry, because the Moon card can be a card of worry or mystery. Sometimes it's the fear of the unknown. It can be that you're, you know, deepening your faith at this time, or even deepening your life philosophy. It doesn't always have to be about faith. The Hierophant doesn't have to be about religion. It can be your life philosophy. You know, looking at the energy, and these are things that are outside of yourself. I won't read these cards until I get them there, because I want to kind of like highlight this. The Moon can be your dreams. And sometimes your dreams feel so monumental that they feel like they're out of reach. And you may have had some setbacks and some rejections along the way, but there is something new being offered. The Ace is often divine intervention, a transformation. Page of Wands is news, where you may have to make a very quick decision, something you're going to be excited about. Seven of Pentacles, you're not going to rush into this. You've invested in this. It's something that you really want, but you feel it hasn't shown up for you. But it is a part of your plans now. And the Hierophant indicates that, you know, you're even closer to achieving it. It can indicate that you celebrate something. There's a contract, or, you know, you reach a point where you didn't give up on something, and this change, it benefits you in some way. So please apply all of this to your situation, your personal situation. Again, I acknowledge that it is very abstract, this particular reading, but I have to give you what I'm being given, okay, and what the cards mean in the positions that they're in. But it says here, there's a path you're meant to be on, trust it. Sometimes the path does not make sense. I mean, just like this reading, perhaps. You know, I feel sometimes we're discovering as we go. And that's what the Fool card is all about. It's like we discover as we go, and we kind of shift our perspective, and we open ourselves to flexibility, and we navigate and ride that wave of life. And fear of the future or the unknown will actually rob us of joy in the present and keep us rooted to the spot. So I feel this is about kind of like letting go and acknowledging that there are some really great things coming your way. And yes, you are secure. And yes, things are going to change. The one constant in this whole world that we deal with as humans is change. That's the one constant. People change, seasons change, the earth changes, everything is changing. And it can be that you're trying to find your way through all of these changes. And at first it feels a little bit discombobulating, but trust the path that you're on, because it brings you home to self. It also brings you to a place where you feel, you know, you can celebrate yourself and you get to your destination, whatever your destination point is. So it says here, you miss the beauty when you are stressed. Be gentle with yourself. Be messy sometimes. Let it all go. You know, that is one of the root energies of this reading. Let it all go. Things don't have to be perfect. Sometimes not knowing the answer is actually kind of exciting because it is the blank canvas. It is our ability to say, okay, you know what, we want certain things, but if we trust the process, then we will reach the destination. Let the universe take care of how. Just put one foot in front of the other, just like that Fool energy. It's like, take that leap of faith, go for it, whatever it is. Find the spark, follow your passions, follow your heart, and you'll reach your destination. We've got here, you will be surrounded by people with different agendas. It may scare you away, but fight it. You got this. Now that's an interesting card because, you know, sometimes if people don't gel with us, we must trust our intuition. But, you know, different agendas can be hidden motives, okay? So I would say sometimes sitting back and witnessing or observing, being vigilant, people reveal their hand, okay? So if you're dealing with a person that you don't trust right now or you feel there's a secret, I'm going to pull a card on that because that's an interesting card. I would say try to detach from how it makes you feel so that you can like adjust or temper your behavior. Yeah, Hangman and Three of Swords. If someone's hurting you or if anything's hurting you, I feel that's the basic message of this reading. Three of Swords and the Hangman. So this can be like hang back a little bit or put it on hold, observe. Hangman actually witnesses life from a different perspective. Three of Swords can also be, you know, if someone's acting up in your life, in whatever way that can be, there may be a root cause. Can you see it from a different perspective? How does it affect you? And if it's hurting you, then remove yourself from that situation. I mean, a lot of you with that Hangman there as well, that can indicate that life has been turned upside down. And the Three of Swords can indicate, you know, a lot of sorrow, despair, wounds, and suffering, or just difficulty with this kind of like upheaval, or this like world that has somehow been turned upside down. But sometimes I feel lots of people, and don't get me wrong, if anyone is self-sabotaging or trying to hurt you or being mean on purpose, always step away. Remove yourself from that energy. But if you feel that people are like lashing out, it can be because they are dealing with something as well. And of course, if this is someone you truly care about, it's about understanding the root cause. So it can be, look at it from a different perspective. You will be surrounded by people with different agendas. It may scare you away, but fight it. You've got this. I mean, this can also be that you're holding your own. People may have different ideas of how you should run your life or, you know, how they should run theirs. But I feel you are prioritizing your own needs and you are making a declaration to self that you're not going to lose yourself in this, whatever this is. Okay, so again, I will leave that there. We've also got, you will be a great success, but you will have to go through it to get there. There's lessons to be learned. Oh, I mean, we get lessons we didn't ever ask for, okay? So, of course, it's challenging. I mean, some of the things I've been sent my way, I can tell you it was painful and challenging, and I ask sometimes, like, why did I experience that? What is the message? Sometimes we have to ask, what is the question? What is the message? What is the answer? And I feel a lot of you with that Hangman, that is a period of questioning, soul searching. You know, I feel that yes, you are going to be successful. You're going to reach a destination point. You're also going to come home to self. But I feel you have been through a lot of stuff to get there. And there is a lesson to be learnt here. I feel the lesson is to, you know, not lose yourself in this, because the Moon card, it can be like a lot of uncertainty. The Magician is like reclaiming your power there, and also not to lose your curiosity or your spark, especially as we get older, you know, as we become more mature. I mentioned already all those, you know, how can I put that? It's like all those energies within ourselves, that excitement, stopping to smell the roses, our dreams, our goals, all of those things. Sometimes we're just busy doing because life is hard. And I feel a lot of you have been doing that. And again, I mentioned not on autopilot, because I feel deep down there is this energy of you feeling very deeply, but almost like blocking it so you can just show up for yourself and keep it all together. But I feel you are going to reignite that spark, that curiosity. And I do see some really great news that you're going to be enthusiastic about, that will make you feel more secure, or make you feel like, you know what, you reached the destination point, whatever the destination point is for you. Oh my gosh. You got two trinkets here that are connected to change again. So yeah, there are some big changes happening here. You have the butterfly there, but also you have the Pegasus, which means you are elevating in these changes. And the Pegasus connects to the Ace of Swords, which is divine intervention, knowing that you are protected and directed. Also, lots of meaningful coincidences. I mean, the butterfly, it can indicate in particular, and I've mentioned this before, but because you have the moon there, sometimes you have to trust the path, okay? If you think about the caterpillar, it trusts the process. It is a caterpillar, then it goes into the chrysalis, it dissolves its sense of self, so ultimately feels lost. You know, if you think about dissolving the sense of self. Now, I can't tell you because obviously I've never been a caterpillar going into a chrysalis. However, I can only imagine that, you know, to dissolve one's sense of self, and I know that I've been through that process, it's like the ego death. And we all go through that at some point, and it can feel really scary or daunting, like everything and everybody is different. And then everything gets pieced back together. And you grow, there's growth here, and then suddenly you emerge, you're becoming, and then you fly. And I feel a lot of you are going through that right now, that you're about to fly. And we've got that Pegasus, of course. I'm just seeing Pegasus right now in the water as well, going towards the sun. So this is symbolic. You're going from the moon to the sun energy. A lot of you are removing yourself from anything or anyone who hurts or drains you. But this is, you know, your destiny. A lot of you, your destiny or your calling could be very challenging. And some of the lessons that you are learning right now informs your path or your destiny in some way. And all these changes are operating for your highest good. There's going to be quicker results coming on in here for you, and I feel this is a period that works in your higher favor. It doesn't feel like it right now, but you're turning a corner, okay? Wow, well, that was a lot, so I hope something resonates for someone out there, but perhaps it will for some of you, but I'll leave it there. Thank you so much, my beautiful Taurians, and love and light.